I think there should be a whole series about relationships and people who work in sports. I really do.
You want to do it?
That's a good take. That's a good take.
You want a stir pot remix, Brian?
No, we get stir potted up.
And featuring Braxton and Tia.
Yeah.
My whole life has changed ever since you came in. I knew way back then that you was heaven sent, angel here on earth. I love your mama for your birth.
What's up, TV crew?
It's your man Braxton.
And your lady Tia.
And as you guys know, we always love to highlight those that are having a great impact on the culture. And today we have three very special guests with us.
These extraordinary young men all graduated from the illustrious North Carolina A&T State University and played a pivotal role in the football team's success. Aggie Pride,
Yes, sir.
Our first spotlight is originally from Jackson, Mississippi, and currently resides in Jersey City, New Jersey. He is a producer, editor, and sports broadcast for the New York Jets. Our second spotlight was a previous student assistant coach for the Aggies and was a part of 3 Celebration Bowl championships. He is currently in his second season at NFL headquarters in New York working in football operations. Our third spotlight is an Ohio native who was previously the account executive for the Cleveland Cavaliers, an athletic operations associate at University of Minnesota, and a teams and football operations associate for the Minnesota Vikings. He is currently Hampton University's Director of Football Operations and Video Coordinator. TV crew, please welcome Jordan McGrigg, Brandon Detroit Willis, and Brian Jenkins.
How y'all feeling today?
What up, though?
We're good.
What's happening?
Y'all doing all right?
We doing good, man.
Excellent.
Trying to stay above water.
Yes.
Trying to. Well, that's as long as you're doing that, you're good. But it's good to see y'all's faces, man. For the viewers that don't know, we were all at the University of North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University.
The illustrious.
Yeah,
yes.
That's right.
You can't forget it. You cannot forget
it. and we wanted to spotlight you guys because we feel like y'all are doing something that many people aren't doing. You're excelling in a field that I think a lot of people that look like us aspire to do. And we just want to commend y'all because y'all are doing an absolutely incredible job. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to this conversation that we're about to have. So just to kind of get things started, you know, you guys were all on the football team at North Carolina A&T. You know, you guys play football pretty much all your lives, and then you make the transition and you become a part of the coaching staff at some point during your collegiate career. What is that transition like for you going from player to now a part of the staff? And what I really want to know is you're still the same age. Like you played with these guys last season. You're the same age.
Yeah. Yes.
Like
how does that work?
Yes.
Well, listen, Brax, I'll tell you right now, they ended up becoming my coach, so I can't tell you.
Okay, so
that was weird.
Yeah,
that was weird.
Serious?
Man, and one of the best things about them was they took their role serious. So distinguishing themselves from coaches from players to coaches, I think they did a phenomenal job of doing that because even at times I'm like, yo, Brandon, you ain't gotta talk to me like that, bro. We still dogs. Or yo, Brian, you ain't gotta talk to me like that, bro. You my dog. But at the end of the day, just respecting them in their roles and pursuing their field, specifically Brian when he's doing the signals, or Brandon when he's giving me the scout team cards and stuff like that, respecting him in that space. That was one thing I had to get used to. So it was like, first off, bro, like, you my dog, why you talking to me like that, bro? You feel me? But at the end of the day, they always checked up on, especially for those that were like on scout teams, because a lot of their roles came from guiding the scout team throughout practice, because we really didn't have that guidance. And so they looked to me as, and I hate to put it this way, I was known as like the scout team All-American. And so like the first person they were going to come to for anything when it came to scout team was, yo, Jordan, bro, we need you to do this. Mm-hmm. And it's like, dang, bro, I don't want to do it, but I mean, I got you, you feel me? And so, I mean, watching them switch was phenomenal to see how flawless they did. And I kind of let them speak to how it was being in that role and having to speak to players when they were the same age or on the team with
Clearly, Hampton Wi-Fi is not Aggie.
It's terrible.
Yeah, clearly Hampton ain't got that Aggie Pride Wi-Fi. But, I'll let Brian speak first since he was the OG in it.
So yeah, I think out of the three of us, I was the first one that transitioned from playing to coaching. And it was really hard for me because I've been, like you said, I've been playing my entire life since I could walk, playing football, basketball, ran track, played lacrosse. I mean, I did it all. And then just to stop playing, that was hard. But at the same time, now when I look back at it, it was a blessing in disguise because I really got to go through all those emotions and feelings while I was still in school, while I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Whereas, you know, our friends and former players and former teammates and, you know, people that we know and love dearly, once they graduate, they're going through what us three went through in college. And so I think when I transitioned, like I said, it was hard, but I took it on and I just ran with it because I knew I wanted to do something in coaching or on the front office side of things. And I saw this as an opportunity that you initially said, I was the same age as all of them. So it took some time for them to really understand, like, I am not your friend. I'm a coach. And I understand what I'm talking about because I'm actually studying and I'm, you know, watching film and I'm with the coaches in the staff meetings, learning this stuff. So what I'm telling you is right. And I need you to respect me. And I feel as though once they kind of saw, you know, I knew what I was talking about, then that's when that respect level came. I mean, we always respect each other. But again, it's like, that's your boy. Like, yeah, on the field, I'm a coach. But then, you know, we go back to the same dorm. We go to the cab. You know what I'm saying? On the weekend, we go and do something together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my take on it, though.
Okay.
Yeah, similar to Brian, piggybacking off of that, just the hardest part about the transition was the legitimacy. Is like we was just sitting in the room together, learning. Like Coach Gibbs cussing all of us out at the same time. The running backs, the fullbacks, learning plays, and now all of a sudden you think you gonna tell me to plays and set up the drills and do all that stuff. It's like, hold up. You was just with me shooting in the gym. But overall, like Brian said, when you got into those meetings with the coaching staff, when they and shout out, you know, to our coaches at the time, Coach Broadway. We kind of had two different waves of coaches working and playing. Coach Broadway and then Coach Wash. They helped kind of legitimize us in those roles and helped us with that transition. And we like, hey, we know these guys used to be our teammates, but it's a reason why we've asked y'all to do this. There's a reason why, you know, we believe that you all can still connect with those former teammates, with the guys on the team, and really have an impact and really show leadership throughout the process. And that them legitimizing us allowed us to, I feel, kind of be confident in ourselves, legitimize ourselves. And then that earned the respect and the trust. I think if anything with the guys that we used to play with, right, it was more of a trust factor. You did it with us, you know, through the conditioning, through the summer workouts, through the winter workouts, right? So we trust you. Now we got to legitimize you and trust you as a coach. And then with the younger guys, you know, we help them, we help recruit them, we help set up visits, we help do all these things. So it would be really funny. Some of the seniors on the team today, they only knew us as coaches. They never knew we played. They never knew our first Celebration Bowl. They only saw us as Coach Jenkins or Coach Detroit or Coach McGrigg. Like they never knew that other side. So having that foundation set and really everybody a part of it, helping legitimize ourselves, I think it worked out. But it was tough. The transition was tough at first, for sure.
Well, that's good. But y'all never had to like pull a rock moment on Gridiron Gang and come out with the helmet on and yoke somebody up.
Hey, let me tell you something. Here, I would do that in a minute. Boy, I would put a helmet and shoulder pads on so fast
it's
here.
It's so funny because when we was playing, two of our coaches did that. Coach Williams and
they did.
Who did he go up against?
Who they go?
I can't remember who it was. And they was yoking and Coach Gibbs was hyping it up. And Miss Trina went in that. She went in that shed. She got some passes and helmets, and they lined up across.
Oh yeah, I do remember that shit. I do remember that.
So it happens.
I do remember that.
Brian, the next question is just specifically for you. How do you manage your personal relationships with your current role?
You know what? That should be a topic separate that should be discussed about anyone who works in, the sports industry. Okay. But I think for me, it's my biggest thing is communication. Communicating my schedule, my time, but also what I've learned is I need to be more present. And I say that because we can get, really tied down in our jobs and our roles and our responsibilities. I mean, especially with, my role, I'm being pulled in every single direction possible. And everyone is calling my phone from the sun up to sundown. And so I have to be able to, separate, work from my personal life, be able to balance that. But again, it just comes down to communication and
Wi-Fi.
That boy's on the roll too.
Yeah.
He in that bag right now.
Yeah, he going in.
Oh,
we lost him.
We lost him.
For the two of you guys, I want to hear from both of you where the positions that you're in now, obviously there was some experience you had at A&T that put you on this path that got you there. And what I'm really looking for is what was that one moment where he was like, I see it. This is what I want to do once I graduate. What is that experience, or what is that moment for the two of you?
My moment honestly was when I first went to the office after saying that my season was over. I knew I didn't want to play football anymore, and specifically not for A&T anymore, because they had been open with me about my status as a receiver. And just to bring me into that world, I was in a gray area of not being big but being good. And so the quote I always use that I never forget is Coach Hester telling me that I wouldn't be able to block a linebacker if it came down to it. And I'm like, man, listen, you are totally right. So that linebacker buried down on me. I may move, to be honest. But just understanding that I still wanted to be around football, because again, at that time, I still was so close with all the players. I was still very close with Brandon, Bryant, and I knew what they were doing for the team. So at that time, I'm like, well, I'm in broadcast, so I know Deshaun Massey needs another guy to help him out with videography as well as the social medias. So one day I just go into the office and I tell Gibbs straight up, I'm like, yo, Gibbs, I'm trying to be around the team. What can I do? I know I ain't gonna be able to be on the team, but I know I want to be around the team. And he was like, well, we got social media. We know Deshaun needs help. And I was telling, and Deshaun was sitting beside me at the time. And I was like, well, I do videography because I'm at broadcast. So if you need another videographer, I'm absolutely down for that. And he was like, yeah, we all for it. Next thing you know, the very next day, he's calling me to practice, say, hey, I need you to shoot practice. From there, that's when I knew, this is what the hell I want to do for a living. Because I'm not on the team, but I'm still around the team. And I'm still being treated like the team. And the reason I say that is because I may not be a coach, but every time we score, every time something big happens, they know exactly who face to come to due to the fact that I'm the one that's holding the camera. So anytime something big would happen during the game, the first camera they was going to run to was mine because they knew who I was. So It's like having those moments with those players, or having those moments when we're having big moments. It's like, this is what I want to do for a living, because it makes you feel good. Like everybody's still looking at you as like, damn, you still one of our guys, and you also enhancing what we're doing. So that was the moment I knew. And I think the moment it hit me the most was shooting my first Celebration Bowl and seeing Malik Wilson run the touchdown back. And it didn't come to me, but he came right beside me. And I remember how he ran past and was still looking at me. And I'm like, I still feel like I'm a part of the team. So that was my moment. Like, this is what I want to do. And even now to this day with the Jets, the players, matter of fact, today, literally every player, so there's a part of work where I go into the locker room and I have to record the interviews. And so every player that walk past me is dapping me up because they see me in there so often. I'm literally like a fly on the wall. Most of the time they can't even tell I'm in there. But I developed those relationships with those players. Brandon will tell you, some of them text me or call me and be like, what's good, bro? Like, what you doing? And so having those relationships with players, knowing that I was a player, and, it always makes me feel good. That's why I love this field so much.
That's great.
That is really good.
That's great, bro. We appreciate you sharing that.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I think my moment was probably the third Celebration Bowl, Alcorn, and just that entire trip alone, just knowing, well, the first one I went as a player, so I saw the player side, but that one specifically, I went more in this coach role. And not only was it more the coach role, when you're at A&T or when you're at like one of these smaller black schools, you might be coach on paper, but you help with everything: your operations, your academic advisor, your equipment, your medical and trainers. So you play a role in everything. And so seeing that trip and how it came together, not just coaching, but from an operational standpoint of getting the team there, getting the hotels, getting the buses, the itinerary once we got on site, the practice schedule once we got on site, our meals, our rooms, walkthroughs, game day, locker room, like that, the entire process that it took, any of the banquets and the special dinners and the activities that they have for us on the Celebration Bowl itineraries, the media avails, the championship, and then even like when we won, the parties, what players are going to which parties, and calling promoters and doing all of this kind of stuff. So I think that's when I knew, like, okay, I don't know if I want to stay in coaching, but I thoroughly enjoyed helping to execute that entire process, literally from A to Z, even to when we came back, and just in good old A&T fashion, our buses broke down in the middle of Georgia, and we had to switch. Oh my God, we had to switch people off of buses in the middle of the highway, and it was just nuts. But like, just that entire process, A to Z, and seeing that come to fruition, that was the moment I knew, like, okay, this is something I want to continue post A&T.
Okay. Nice. So it sounds like from the two of you, at least, is you definitely knew you still wanted football to be in your life. Like, that's your love, that's your heart, and no matter what, that's always going to be a part of you. And you guys found a way to pivot from where you were before to still be engaged with that, with something else that you love, and put it all together, right?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Brian, welcome back, man. It's good to see you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I had to connect to our network instead of the Wi-Fi, so we good now. I think I can answer that in two parts. So I always knew eventually I wanted to get into coaching, and I started way back in high school. I've always been the one to learn the playbook within the first week. That's always been my goal, to know the plays, to know routes, to not just know only my responsibilities, but the other receivers, the other running backs, and the QBs. I just wanted to just be able to be well-rounded in that. And so in doing that, when starters and other players had questions, I could tell them, well, this is what we do, and this is what we're supposed to be doing, and this is what we check to. And so that carried over to A&T. And then the second part is that me and
he's not lying either. He is not lying about that.
and so the second part is our position coach, Coach Hester. Again, football is a business. And so I got exposed to that very quickly. And, that's one thing that, at first, I didn't understand, but now I do, just working in it and being a part of it. But, I was basically told, like, I can either continue to be on the scout team, even though I had a great, fall camp and all off season, I was developing and doing very well, or I can start, my career in coaching. He asked me, what did I want to do? And I said, well, eventually I want to start coaching. And so then he proposed that for me. And so with that, I took some time, I talked to my family and everything. And I just went, like I said, previously, before I had to, get off and get reconnected. I just took that little leap of faith, and I got into coaching.
Right. And the other thing that it sounds like, and I've always told people this, to anyone that goes to HBCU in general, is you are going to be given opportunities to make the best out of yourself. And it sounds like for all three of you, you knew what you wanted. You told the person who could make that decision, and they gave you the opportunity to make it happen. It wasn't just a straight up, oh, you don't know anything about this, you're too young, or oh, you were just on a team, we can't do that. You made it clear with what you wanted, and they gave you a chance, and you guys capitalized on it, and now you're excelling so much further. So that's incredible.
Yeah, and I think for me, and I believe that they probably mentioned it too. I knew I still wanted to be a part of football somehow, some way. I knew coaching, operations that allows me to do that, to still have an impact and still be connected to the game that I've just been playing since I was little.
Excellent.
So the question again was, how do you manage your personal relationships with your current role?
Oh yeah, we got to go back to that. All right. You thought you was about to skip past that? Jenkins.
I mean, to be honest, all three of us could answer this question because it's something that we come across so much in relationships, and I think the biggest thing is communicating what the schedule is like, what we're doing, but also being intentional and being present. But I also think it takes that person, people always say, oh, I understand, I get it. No, you don't. You don't really understand it until you're actually in it, until you feel like, oh, this person is really, busy from sun up to sundown, or he has a tight schedule, or his time is very limited. And, one of the things I try to be more intentional about is, with my limited time, when I have it, give myself fully to that person. And it also helps, especially in friendships with Brandon and Jordan and the rest of our friends, they get it, they're in it. So they understand it. So I don't really have to over explain myself or explain at all really what's going on. I mean, us three could go 2-3 weeks without talking and be fine. Whereas, in a personal relationship, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? And so you just have to make time and explain, and you have to be patient with that person, because again, this is not an everyday and no knock people, but this is not like a normal 9-to-5 job. You know what I'm saying? Like we grind from Sunday to Sunday. We work on holidays, and we work 365 days out of the year. Yeah. So.
Have you ever gotten jealousy, or this could be for all of you guys, with your family relationships? Do you feel like it's been genuine support, or do you feel like people are trying to use you? What's your
man? That's a good ask. That's a great question. I did want to touch on a point though, because recently my cousin came to see me, and she was telling me about. She said something that I never forget. She was like, "A lot of your aunties and uncles don't even know what you look like as an adult." I'm like, "Oh man!" I never even paid attention to that specifically, because a lot of the jobs I've had have been not your regular 9-to-5s, and two, it's more so of again, Sunday to Sunday, and you only getting that Saturday, so it's hard. And not to mention, you can't plan for the future in this field either. So, for example, if somebody's saying, "Hey, could you come next week?" and I'm telling them, I don't even know what my schedule is like next week. I'm telling you right now, I don't even know what I'm doing the very next day. So to plan for something that far ahead, and we only talking about the next week, is hard. And so, and I was just telling her, I plan on trying to come see my family. So just to bring everybody in perspective as far as our viewers go, is I'm from Mississippi. So, and one thing about families in the South, it's hard to bring them out of the South. So if anything, you have a thriving nephew, niece, or uncle or aunt, the only way you're going to be able to see them is if they go back. And so I don't get in a hurry to go back to my hometown. I don't like going back to my hometown. But do I miss my family? Absolutely. And it did break my heart hearing her say that. But the problem is, we just get so caught up in what we're doing, and it's not, it's not on purpose. It's just the fact that we're still so young in our field. The only one that's not necessarily young in this field is Brandon, but he's been paving the way for me and Brian and kind of helping us maneuver through all of this. But one thing he mentioned was, bro, it's gonna be hard to see your family as often as you want to when your family members or your potential lover or your lover understands the scheduling of that. Then it makes for a better relationship between the two, because if you're not fully understanding that, then it will cause friction, and it will be days where you're like, bro, you don't even talk to me. So yeah. How I know we serious, you get what I'm saying? And it's not me just completely ignoring you. It's just the fact that throughout my day, stuff could get thrown on my plate randomly. It's not, and again, like Brian said, It's not knocking the 9 to 5s or those work at, department stores and all of that. This is such a field where it's forever changing. We could wake up tomorrow and they'd be like, listen, the entire administration has been fired. So with that being said, I need you to figure out if you have another move or not. So with that being said, things are always moving and you always have to be an annoying when it comes to this field. Like if you are not an annoying, then, oh my God, all blessings to you. But what I'm saying is this field is such a difficult field. So when you bring people into this world with us and you're trying to explain to them how it works, how the scheduling works and all that, it's hard. Like you said, over explanations. Sometimes it helps to pursue a person that's in the same field as you or understands.
Yeah. Okay. So would you guys say that the culture is kind of like high intensity, very busy? I mean, how else would you describe it?
It's high intensity, it's high pressure, I especially myself, like we appreciate all the accolades and a lot of people, express to us how proud they are and different things of that nature, but we are still very, very junior. We still have a long way to climb until we get to the spots where a game could be going on and we take that weekend off, or an event be happening and we elect not to go. We're still a very, very long place from those positions, from that hierarchy. And so right now, our main goal is to prove ourselves, to make sure that we're showing our worth in this space. We are all from A&T. Some of our competitors are from the Dukes, are from the Chapel Hills. They're from the Michigans. They're from the Ohio States, right? Some of them in some ways have gotten head starts, leaps in bounds beyond us. Some of them are owners' grandkids. Some of them are GM's kids. Some of them are former players' daughters and sons. And so, there's so much competition around. If boss say, hey, we got Christmas week schedule, we got games December 23rd, December 24th, December 25th, December 26th. I need you to be in headquarters. Well, then goddamn, I'm going to be in headquarters. So, just that stuff alone is very high intense. It's very high pressure. It's very competitive. I mean, it almost reflects exactly how it is on the field. And, that's why a lot of times former athletes will transition into this space, because the culture and the nature, literally without us running around and hitting each other, it really can embody the same thing.
Okay. I never knew that. So I don't know. All I know is what I see on TV.
Yeah.
You watch an episode of Ballers and you think you know everything. So it's good that y'all sharing this, because I think our viewers will probably are learning something new about how this industry works as well.
Yeah.
This one is for Jordan now. What advice do you have for current JMOC students wanting to take your same path?
Man, get in as many internships as you can, get as many reps as you can. I always look at this field as like a sport. The more reps you get at it, the more people that's going to see you. The reason I say that is because as far as my field goes, it's such a social media world. Mm-hmm. So if you're constantly posting reels, if you're constantly posting photos, if you're constantly posting captures of events, people are going to see that after a while. And you honestly don't even need to put in an application or a resume to show off that type of stuff, because a world like TikTok or a world like Twitter, you get one video to go viral, one photo to go viral. People are chasing after you, trying to figure out how can they get a piece of it. If you ever pay attention to, like, for example, when breaking news happens, specifically on Twitter, when breaking news happens and you get a video of something they need, they will reach out to you and say, hey, can we get that video and give you credit for it? You get something like that, you're in the field already. Now, right. As far as the NFL or professional field, it is a little harder due to the fact of not being able to understand applications. That was my main thing. And Brandon could tell you this. I didn't really understand some of the applications that was being put out there as far as like applying to certain teams and stuff like that, because I just knew that I wanted to be a content creator. Mm-hmm. What I didn't know is one of the ways to get into that is through broadcast. And so what I do now for the New York Jets is I help push the content for the studio specifically, not necessarily for the team itself, but for the studio. And how would most people know about that if they're not paying attention to what's in the application itself, or having people help explain that to them, like, hey, it's multiple fields within broadcast. And so one thing that helped me throughout that my matriculation through A&T was a professor, Mr. Jowers. I was literally just talking about him 24 hours ago when I was at the A&T alumni thing. And there was a young lady there, and she was like, I was asking her, well, who's your professor? She was like, Mr. Jowers. And I was like, man, that guy really helped, paved the way for me, because with his class, we would have to go out and get film, bring it back, and he would study it, take a look at it, and all that. And I used to always tell him, listen, I work for the football team, so the only film I'm bringing back to you is football stuff. So once he fully understood that, he knew my vision, he knew what I was going for. Every day, I literally lived in his class, showing him the stuff that I wanted to go for, this and that. And he kind of helped me understand what it was I wanted to do. So once it came time for applications and stuff like that, I didn't understand the wordage of it. But once I got into the door, it was like, oh, I know exactly what I want to do. And now I'm more of an editor. But I've realized along the way that my editing skills is better than my shooting skills. And that's okay. One of the questions I got asked when I was being hired was, do I like shooting more or do I like editing more? Originally, I said I like shooting more. I like being behind the camera. But once I realized I can make a fire highlight tape or hype video, and sometimes it's not even just those, I'm putting an interview within that same video. Once I figured out how to do stuff like that, and then build it and having a team around me to push me more, it was like, oh man, this is what I want to do. So as far as me giving advice to JOMC students, is stay motivated. The field is hard, extremely hard to get into. So if you don't get a job right out of college, don't let that discourage you. It took me 4 years to get in my field after graduating. I was a teacher for 2 years. And I was telling them, Brian and Brandon, I was like, dude, I think I love being a teacher, bro. But then they continue to humble me. And that's why I love my friends. They continue to humble me, say, hey, we see that you like being a teacher, but we know that ain't what you want to do. With that being said, what are you doing to get back in your field? And I for the longest, I never had an answer for them. I'm like, dude, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't be seeing no applications. And they're like, are you still shooting? I'm like, nah, I ain't got no camera. So it's like, you telling me you want to be back in that field, but you're not telling me how you're getting in that field. And so I'm forever thankful for them continuing to push me throughout my career, and it's going to keep elevating from here. Same with my them as well. So as far as advice goes, the main thing I would tell them is don't give up, especially after you graduate. Because I'm telling you right now, it's hard to get in this field. So.
Okay, that's great.
That's good to share. And I think I got a little bit of eligibility left, so I might send my highlight tape your way. Because I mean, maybe that's the reason why I ain't picked up. So
hey, send it my way. Send it my way.
Dude, I just need you to do a couple of tweaks and whatnot. And we'll be straight.
Hey,
we'll work it out.
Way. we'll take a look at it.
All right. Say less. So Detroit, I want to get a good idea of what your day-to-day looks like. Because when we look at your role, you're at the headquarters for NFL. So you're not working with just one team, one organization. You're dealing with all the teams. You're dealing with the entire schedule, week in and week out. Can you describe to us what your day-to-day looks like for our viewers who, because this might be something that they want to do as well. So can you share that with them?
Yeah, so my day-to-day, it's hard. So to explain, so
it's a loaded question.
I'll start at the home base, the foundation. My foundation, my day-to-day is rooted in our football operations, our football compliance group. And really that's just helping oversee or having the oversight of all of our NFL rules, all of our player policies, all of our manuals, our CBA, right, and making sure that the league, as far as how we operate game day, how we operate clubs, how we operate the actual game itself, players, coaches are all being, and events as well, are all being in compliant to what those rules have been set. Now, different groups make and create different rules, different policies, etc. But the day-to-day is just, or the home and the foundation is that. Now, the bases come into play of what that actually looks like and how that goes about being executed. So from a game operations standpoint, which is typically where I'm traveling out to a lot of games, I'm making sure that our game operations manual is being upheld in terms of technology standards, team travel standards, itineraries, stadium standards, the operation associated with the game itself. So coaches booths, coaches technologies, video boards, scoreboards, play clocks, timeouts, down and distances, everything you could think of that goes into that game, medical tents, water bottles, Gatorade. I mean, it can the list can just grow on and on, but that's the one part. And then more on, say you go to second base, that's more the rule book football compliance. So that's overseeing games in headquarters, looking for different infractions, different violations, different types of hits, different types of plays, different things that happen in the game with our officials that they either throw a flag on, don't throw a flag on, or maybe it's something with one of our officials and they need to be corrected on their mechanics and the things that they're doing. And then the latter part of all of that is kind of our bigger tentpole events, Pro Bowl, Super Bowl, draft, combine, and then ensuring execution and logistical operations behind that stuff. So supporting AFC and NFC Pro Bowl teams at Pro Bowl, supporting the logistics of that entire game. At Super Bowl, my job and responsibility is stadium. So anything that has to do with the teams and the stadium, and then also the halftime performance and how that gets onto the field, that gets off of the field, and then also working with like the Rock Nation and Jay-Z's team and helping execute that as well. And then when it comes to off-season events, combine, draft, that's more working with our player operations side, getting prospects on site. Combine is really that point in time of the season where we come and we bring everything that we have collected throughout the year. We bring that to competition committee. They then take that to annual meeting to the owners, and then commissioner has a meeting with them. And then from that, going into that next year, that's how any rules adjustments are made, any policy adjustments are made, any things are put in act going towards next season. So that's kind of in a nutshell how I would describe my role in my day-to-day.
I understand why you're stressed.
It can vary. And it can, you know, I mean, just last week I was dealing with Blueface Baby and Jada Alexis, and that came across my desk. And then today I'm dealing with, you know, the retractable roof in our Germany stadium and how, you know, they're working with that technology to make sure that, you know, if it rains, that the scoreboard is not impacted during the game, while also preparing to be here this weekend for tomorrow night, our Thursday night game, and then for headquarters on Sunday and Monday. So it's a Pandora's box for sure. And then the biggest thing is make sure we have a relationship with all of our 32 clubs, and being at the Panthers and then being at the Bears previous to this helps me kind of keep that rapport, not only within them, but then all the other clubs that I came in contact with during that time.
Okay. So is there anything you can do for my Browns? Are you going to be able to, like, you help us out a little bit? I mean,
the only thing I was able to help with the Browns this year was they got those white uniforms. Those were looking good. They painted that elf in the middle of the field. That looked good. And then they switched over the name of their stadium. So, you know, all that got executed well. As far as Deshaun Watson and the offensive play, you know, I know he's injured right now. Hopefully a speedy recovery to him. But I can't help you there, brother. Y'all are in a stacked division. Y'all got Baltimore, you know, Pittsburgh. They'll eventually find their footing.
Yeah, that's what I'm a Steelers fan.
Yeah, they'll find their footing, and then who else y'all got? Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati. They're starting to find their footing as well. So good luck, B. Good luck.
I will call you offline. We're gonna figure something out.
Last question. Who would you say is your role model athlete?
But my role model athlete would probably be The Rock, or his Hollywood name, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And I would say that because, similar to me, not that similar. I mean, he played legitimately at Miami, won a national championship, but his NFL career didn't pan out. And so just the way he was able to transition from playing college football, being at the top of that, to then going into wrestling, and then being at the top of that, and then going into movies, and then being at the top of that, now it's coming full circle, and we meet with him twice every year for his ownership and stake in XFL. So like that's just mind blowing to me how he was able to turn, one bud or one thorn into a bunch of roses, and be able to pivot from industry to industry, make connections, stay relevant in the culture, be an African-American male, and do all of these things at the highest level, right? And I think, for us, it's more about, the things we want to do in life, the things we feel like God has put us on this earth to do. But if your assignment switches or changes at any point in time, how can I go to that next assignment and still be the best, still do it at the highest level? And that's something that I kind of aspire to be like. So mine would be The Rock.
Okay.
Initially is LeBron James, and I say that for what he does off the field, or off the court. With his I Promise School and everything that he does with paying for the children's education, then just opening up a community where they house the parents. I'm really big on giving back and using my resources to provide for others. I do think we were put on this earth to serve. And I think he does a good job of that. And I always want to model that and just make sure I'm implementing that in everything that I do. When I'm here, I'm doing that for the guys, and the guys are not even asking me to. But now that I'm doing it, the guys are way more open, and they're way more comfortable coming in here and talking about things they got going on and asking for help. And they see me and what I've done in my career. I'm still going in my career, but I have our game ball from the Vikings when we came back and beat the Colts. We were down 33-0 at halftime, and we came back and won 36-39, I believe. And like they see that, and their eyes get big, because to me, they see that they can still achieve what they want and still go far in their career, still be successful, even if they're not a player. These guys are told all the time, you got to play ball to make it. No, you don't. I mean, all of us on here are prime examples that you don't have to, play a sport to be successful. You can still be a part of it, and there are different ways. You may not know or have the resources or have the understanding, but for me, what I've done and my path. Here are some things that I've learned along the way, and I want to be able to make sure that you all are exposed to it as well. But just to bring it back, to answer the question, LeBron, he's someone who I do look up to.
Okay, great.
Man, y'all all had great answers. Mine's not as long, but man, I don't know how to top that. But I would say the one person that I look up to, and eventually this is the field that I want to get into as far as sports go, is Nate Burleson. I think when it comes to his style, I think the way he speaks, I think he speaks with diction. I think the way he steps out, he steps with a lot of confidence. And I've always looked at myself to not have a lot of confidence. So anytime I'm watching NFL Network or Good Morning Football or anything like that with him on it, I'm very in tune in what he's saying, how he's speaking, how he's using his words, because they'll tell you, when I first got the NT, I had the worst speaking of them all, due to the fact that I was from Mississippi, so my accent was still carrying around. And I always tell people, when I walk in a room, I don't want people to keep saying, "Hey, can you repeat that?" That gets annoying after a while. And so eventually I started looking up to people, and Braxton could tell you about this guy, Stuart Scott. He was another person that I looked up to. And so eventually I do want to get into the field of sports casting. I feel like I can speak to those that can listen. And I feel like, looking back as far as our younger generation goes, when they're seeing young Black men on TV, it's like, oh man, I want to be just like that person. You know what I'm saying? Especially us young Black men. when we seeing black men on TV, it's like, dang, I didn't even know black people made it to TV. You know what I'm saying? So eventually, I do want to be in that role, and that's the athlete / sportscaster I look up to, Nate Burleson.
Okay.
Excellent.
Oh, y'all, I just love this. It was so good. Like, I just love y'all. Like, y'all are the three musketeers. I just love y'all in general. So
the originators of the stir pot.
Of the stir pot.
Yes.
May the stir pot never die.
May the stir pot never die.
Yes, but I'm super proud of all of y'all, and y'all keep doing the damn thing.
Absolutely.
Do you guys have any social media tags that you guys want to shout out? Or anything you coming up?
Always follow your boy at b.will3_. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna bring y'all along on this journey with me. As Brian and Jordan have always told me, and I'm starting to take this in a little bit more. I show a lot of like the highlights and the good stuff on social media. So when I get maybe like a student or somebody's like, hey, I want to be in sports, and you know, I don't say I get offended, but I think sometimes, you know, we've all three had to go through a lot of stuff to even just sit where we are right now, and we have so much further to go. But I think sometimes when someone thinks that they can kind of just enter in at this point and not have to do the internships, not have to go through like the necessary steps, it gets a little annoying. And they'll say to me, well, bro, you didn't show that. You just showed, you know, with Rihanna at the club, you know, like you just showed Rihanna, you just showed the bottle popping, you showed the game day, and like you're not showing the process or the struggle or the behind the scenes of like, hey, yeah, this is fun, but it's 9:22 at night and I have a shield over my left shoulder. I need to be at home in the bed, but I'm not. So like, I think something I want to be more transparent and aware about is showing that full picture of, you know, what this career, what this industry, what this field can offer. But still the goal is always to attract, to expose, and to, you know, hopefully motivate somebody and say, hey, you know, Detroit is doing it, I can do that too. And so follow your boy.
Absolutely.
Hey, at Slim_media. That's the easiest way to find me. And to spell that first part is SHLM.
And this is on Instagram?
Yeah, on Instagram. And then my Twitter is basically the same thing. You'll find it.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I mainly use Instagram. I'm on Twitter, but I am Brian Jenkins, plain and simple.
Crew will
plain and simple.
Make sure y'all follow these leaders. They are doing some great things, and I think that they have a lot of great information that anyone who, if y'all follow them, you will learn something, guaranteed. So we truly do appreciate y'all's time. Y'all doing it. Y'all keep doing it. And trust me, we will continue to stay tapped in with y'all. So thank you.
Can I just say something?
Go ahead, man. What you got?
As y'all are our friends, I just want to say y'all are doing it. And I don't think y'all
doing
really
it literally
how much y'all are doing it. So I just want to take the time to give y'all flowers. Creating this platform of Table View. And you know, I remember when y'all first started, y'all was like subscribe and you know, just make sure you tune with us, and just how that has grown over the years. And then also, you know, you all's relationship growing over the years. Mm-hmm. We all still trying to
we watched y'all.
Hey, we trying to figure it out. And you know, and the leap and the strides that, you know, you all have done together in unison is very inspiring to watch, very motivating. And so I just personally wanted to give you all's flowers and say thank you for reaching out to us. Like, it was a major shock and surprise to us that y'all would reach out. Definitely thank you. We love y'all, and you know, Table View gonna continue to go up.
Absolutely,
thank
man.
you. Love you too.
Love you, gangers.
15 to forever, there's nobody that's better. You've been with me in the sun and the stormy weather. Want you to have my son.